Alright, what's up, everybody? Back for another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys having a good one. Today is another episode of the Look In series, and this one is on the Brooklyn Nets, who are the first team to lose in the 2023 NBA playoffs. They were swept by the 76ers yesterday, and now we're doing the Look In episode of them because I think this season for the Nets was very weird and confusing, but now they can finally take a breath of fresh air, and I'm going to tell you why. Thank you guys for the views on the vids and the shorts recently. If you do like content, consider subscribing. Like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. Really appreciate it. Everything else out a lot. And yeah, so we got look in series and we got playoffs stuff as well. The playoff stuff will be more during the week because the weekends there's so many games on and changed a lot. So I'm probably just gonna do playoff recaps during the weekday, not the weekend. But yeah, so let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So the Brooklyn Nets this season, very chaotic year. They finished the year 45-37, sixth in the Eastern Conference. Coming off a pretty disappointing year last year, they got swept in the first round. They come back, and Steve Nash starts the year. They start the year 2-5, don't look that good. Nash gets canned. Jack Vaughn comes in, becomes the interim head coach, and then they go on a big run. They're up to about the second seed in the East. KD and Kyrie are playing out of their minds. And this team looks like a championship contending team. Then Kevin Durant gets hurt, and then it's Kyrie and the rest of the boys, and they're still solid. And then all of a sudden we get the news about Kyrie Irving. He wanted a contract extension in Brooklyn, but the Nets weren't willing to give him everything he wanted. So Kyrie Irving comes out and requests a trade, while the Nets are still like the number 3 seed or 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. Kyrie Irving requests a trade. A few days later, they trade him to the Dallas Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith because they say we still want to build around Kevin Durant. Even if Kyrie's gone, we still think we have a good enough team we can build around KD. Then a few days later, the trade deadline comes, and Kevin Durant gets traded to the Phoenix Suns in a huge blockbuster that no one saw coming. And so now the Nets don't have KD or Kyrie anymore. Now they just have a bunch of solid players. And instead of tanking the rest of the year, they finish out pretty decently and go 45-37. Now, again, that's also because KD and Kyrie put him up so high that even if they did lose all their games, they still would have been probably in the play-in. But, yeah, very interesting season with Brooklyn. Lots of ups and downs. Going from thinking you're going to win a championship to just being an average team in the playoffs. This is kind of a good thing for the Nets, First, talking about their players that they have currently. Mikal Bridges came to Brooklyn as kind of the centerpiece of the Kevin Durant trade. And he played really, really well. He showed a lot of potential. He averaged 26 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Shot 47% of the field, 37% of the three, 89% of the free throw line. Had a lot of 30-point games, 40-point games in there. And he showed all of his potential. In Phoenix, he was kind of just more of a 3-and-D wing. Kind of on the offense, he was just kind of standing on the wing, ready to shoot threes because Chris Paul and Devin Booker, they didn't need Mikal Bridges to be a star. Now with Brooklyn, all the opportunity in the world. Mikal Bridges comes in and is like, all right, I get to show who I am now. And his mid-range pull-up was amazing. He's still hitting threes. And the good thing about it is he wasn't a ball hog. He wasn't like, all right, give me the ball, give me ISO for 10 seconds. It was like more, while the offense was going, I was like, all right, here Mikal, fake pull-up mid-range. It's like he never really ball hogged. It was ISO to get his buckets. Like it was more free-flowing in the flow of the offense. Counter scoring, which is really, really good. And yeah, Mikal, if he stays in Brooklyn and has this type of year, he might blossom into something more. More than just a wing defender that could 3-and-D wing. He can turn into an actual maybe all-star level player, man. And it's really nice to see him do that in Brooklyn. And also his teammate Cam Johnson came over to Brooklyn and he played pretty well. He averaged 16, 4, and 2 with a steal per game. Shot 46% from the field, 37% from three. It took him a little bit of time to get the three ball going. Once he did, he was playing really well. And now big offseason for him because now he's going to restricted free agency. I'm gonna see. If I'm Brooklyn, I probably will try to re-sign him, but you never know. Maybe Brooklyn doesn't think he's worth a lot of money. Because I think some teams definitely gonna try to go pay Cam Johnson, one of the better 3-point shooters, in the league on the wing position. And we'll see what happens there. But yeah, he definitely went over there and spread his wings a little bit as well. And then also I want to talk about Nick Claxton because he had an amazing season that's kind of lost because of KD and Kyrie getting traded. But Nick Claxton played a heck of a year, man. He averaged 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2.5 blocks. He shot 70% from the field. Um, he was amazing on the interior. His defense took a huge step forward. He was one of the better defending bigs in the league, and then offensively as well. He just got more aggressive. Just got better. And he's a big piece for this Brooklyn Nets team going forward. He's still only 23 years old. Um, oh, actually, I think he turned 24. But I mean, McClax is one of my favorite big men in the league, and he showed this year how incredible he is. And the Nets actually have some pretty solid young pieces, pretty solid pieces in general on this team. Royce O'Neal came over to Brooklyn in the offseason and played pretty well. Dwayne Finney-Smith, another really good wing that teams would love to have. Yeah, this Brooklyn Nets team, looking on paper, it has some really good role players on their team. They have really good role players. They just don't have that one guy that could build around them. And if they get that one guy to build around them, it would be insane. You also still have Cam Thomas, who's a big mystery. Cam Thomas averaged 10 points, a rebound and assist, 44% from the field, 38% from three. He had 4 30-point games, yet didn't play for a lot of the second half of the season. I'd love to see him get more minutes. Even though he is just putting a score, I mean, it's one of the most important things to have. You need a guy that's out there to go get a bucket. You know, hopefully he can develop on other things like defense and playmaking and stuff. But right now, as a scorer, he's still good enough to be a consistent rotational player. I feel like in the league. Now, this Nets team had a lot this year, had a lot going on, and then kind of ended I guess unexpectedly, but unexpectedly they got swept by the Sixers. Did not expect a sweep. I thought this team definitely could have won a game. Well, they definitely could have, but then Tyrese Maxey really saved the Sixer team. The role players really saved the Sixer team from the Nets winning a game. But the Nets finally now, after this season's over, Joe Tsai, Sean Marks, Draymond, all of them take a breath of fresh air. You know, the whole KD Kyrie era was filled with a lot of drama. Um, I mean, their first season, Kevin Durant didn't play because he tore his ACL in the finals the year before with the Warriors. So it's basically just Kyrie and the others. And Kyrie got hurt near the late of the season, and they make the playoffs, the 8 seed, but then or as a seven seed, and they lose. Next year, KD's back, but then the whole vaccine thing happens. Kyrie can't play for a lot of the season, but then they make the trade deadline to get James Harden, and they come in. Then Kyrie gets to be available for the road games. Yeah, it's KD and Harden. Kyrie then gets hurt in the Bucks series. Harden gets hurt early in the Bucks series, and it's Kevin Durant against the Bucks. Kevin Durant almost wills his team to a conference finals win if he doesn't, if his shoe size is a little bit smaller. They make it to the conference finals, but they lose to the eventual champion Bucks. Comeback 2022, KD, Kyrie, and James. And then all of a sudden, James Harden, or during midseason, is like, you know what? I'm not really feeling this anymore. I don't think we're as good as we think we are. And I want out. And so James Harden gets traded to Philly for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons still has his back problems, so he doesn't play. And it's KD and Kyrie. They make it to the play-in. They get to the 7 seed, play Boston, and get swept. Kevin Durant looks the worst he's looked. Kyrie is trying, but the Nets ultimately lose. Then we come into this season with KD, Kyrie, and Ben, and we'll see what happens. KD requested a trade in the offseason. That trade request did not get refilled at that time. And so it's like, all right, let's run it. And then Brooklyn, they start off kind of shaky, but then you see the potential of Brooklyn. Now, didn't they have I think they had like a 13-game win streak at some point during the season. KD and Kyrie look amazing. This Nets team looks like a real contender. And then Kevin Durant gets injured on a very weird play when Jimmy Butler falls on his leg. And that kind of hurts the chances, but it's like, all right, KD will be out for a while, but we still got Kyrie in them. Kyrie plays good. And then the whole situation with Kyrie's like, all right, I want a contract now. I like it here in Brooklyn. But the Nets aren't willing to give him the much money because it's Kyrie Irving. You never know what's going to happen. Injuries happen to him a lot. And they're not willing to risk it all for Kyrie. And then so Kyrie's like, all right, you don't want to risk it all. You don't want to give it all to me? All right, trade me. And that puts a whole wrench in the season. And then even after trying to build around Kevin Durant, they just kind of realize at this point, like, you know what? At this point, It's not even worth it anymore. Kyrie's gone. This whole thing has been a train wreck. Let's just get rid of KD. Let's wash our hands and let's just end it right here. And then they trade Kevin Durant as the last piece, and now they can finally breathe. All the drama, all the pressure on them, everything is gone now in Brooklyn. Everything is gone. They tried it. Of course, did they make the right decision? Yes. I mean, you have an opportunity to get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. You obviously take that. Obviously they couldn't predict. They couldn't predict that Kyrie Irving didn't want to take the vaccine. They couldn't predict that Kevin Durant would get hurt after coming off his ACL. Again, they couldn't predict that they got James Harden, and a year later, James Harden's like, I don't really like this anymore. They couldn't predict any of this. When they got Katie and Kyrie, it's the risk you take. They took the right risk. It just didn't work out. It didn't work out, and now they can finally breathe, have a new team, new culture. Don't have any of the previous drama of Katie and Kyrie, that cloud surrounding them anymore, and that pressure on them to win is gone. Now they could just be the Brooklyn Nets with Mikal Bridges and Nick Claxton and all of us, and let's just go out there and play and see what happens. So yeah, now looking at the future direction of this team, you do have some very good young pieces, and like Claxton, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson needs to get paid. Cam Thomas is still there. Very interested to see what the direction of this Nets team is, because I feel like this Nets team is good enough where they really can, like make this into they can be a consistent playoff playing team next year. It just depends on what direction they want to go in. Do they want to keep the team being maybe the 6 or 7 seed, and see what happens with this team, or do they want to trade some pieces and maybe get some younger pieces? Because they can maybe make a sign and trade for Cam Johnson, get something decent. Mikal Bridges could be someone on the trade block where, after seeing what they saw this season, I mean, his trade value is probably at an all-time high right now. So maybe you can get something pretty good for that. You still got decent role players and guys like Dorian Finney-Smith and Royce O'Neal and them that teams will love to have. Playoff teams will love to have. I don't know how much you get for them, but maybe you get a solid, maybe mid to late first round pick or some seconds for him. You got Spencer Dinwiddie still under contract that maybe you could flip. But I'm assuming this Nets team probably still wants to win. It still wants to make it competitive. And they already have all the pieces. They have the pieces. It's just more about some of the little things, maybe. Seth Curry and Joe Harris didn't really do much this season, so maybe they will be gone. Maybe you can get some more shooting out there. You definitely need maybe a backup big man. Some more point guard play as well, because Spencer Dinwiddie is really the only point guard on this team. And maybe some more point guard play. They have some easy fixes. They can just go get in free agency, especially with the free agency class not being as crazy. They can go out there and get some solid pieces and make this team pretty. This team can be pretty solid. Are they going to be a top tier playoff team? No, but they're going to be a solid, maybe 6 or 7 seed that you can't really just ignore or pass up. But yeah, this Nets team is in a very solid place. I feel like right now, especially for me, I feel like the Nets are in a solid place where they got this young team. They don't have any pressure on them anymore. They just go out there and play and see what happens. Pressure is not on them to win anymore. They just have, the draft, do what they gotta do in free agency, come back next year, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm very excited to see what happens for the rest of this Brooklyn Nets team. So yeah, that's it for today's episode. If you haven't watched any of the other look-in episodes, go back, play this on my channel. You can go back and watch all 14 of them. This is the 15th one. Yeah, thank you guys again for the views on the vids and the shorts. If you like the content, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, also like that. Really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.